Hey guys, thanks for the question from the Hobart College Environmental team. The question was, at which point does the carbon cost of transporting relatively sustainable foods outweigh the benefits of growing them compared to other foods? Now, this is a great question. It's about carbon footprints of foods, and basically transportation is the key. Because if it takes a long time or it's a long way away to transport, and how you transport it, that uses up a lot of carbon. Things like refrigeration, so if it needs to be cold the whole way, that can add a lot of carbon to the journey too. But there's a few surprising things. It's like bananas, for example, often travel a long way, but bananas are actually very good for transport because, as you can see here, they're green when you pick them and they ripen on the journey. And they take a long time to ripen, and they actually ripen in transit. And so this means that you can actually do it on a massive boat. And boats don't have anywhere near as big a carbon footprint as a plane or even a truck, for example. So if you're mainly transporting a lot of bananas through on a boat, then this is a great sustainable source of food. And actually it's been calculated that per kilo of banana, you're actually putting 480 grams into the atmosphere, which is actually very good compared to most other foods. One of the worst ones is when you air freight vegetables or fruits or anything like. So for fresh asparagus to get across the world, they do it really fast, and so it has to go on an aeroplane. Now, the carbon footprint of air freighted asparagus, for example, is incredibly high. So if it's been air freighted for freshness, and it's not good for carbon footprint, basically. And this is actually 65 times worse than a banana. So yeah, don't avoid air freighted asparagus and other air freighted foods. So basically, you can look at these in many different ways. Carbon footprints are very complicated. There's many things that go into carbon footprints. Is, for example, even say you've got a bottle of water, things like the person who works in the factory to go and make the bottle of water, did they drive to work? Did they walk? This adds to the carbon footprint of that bottle of water. And these are all taken into account in this book by Mike Berners-Lee, which is How Bad Are Bananas? The Carbon Footprint of Everything. This is a great book. There's a lot to learn about carbon footprints of food in here. So I definitely recommend that. And the interesting part of the book is actually, he says, what's a carbon footprint of cycling a mile, right? Which is 1.6 kilometers. And basically it depends what you eat to fuel your bike ride. So basically, if you're eating a banana, there's only 65 grams of CO2 goes in the atmosphere. But if you're eating milk and cereal to fuel your ride, it's 90. Bacon is a lot worse, so it's 200 grams. And the air freighted asparagus is actually 2,800 grams of CO2 into the atmosphere by cycling a mile fueled by that food. And it's actually better just to drive a car rather than eat air freighted asparagus, for example. So carbon footprints, there's a lot that go into them, and basically there's a lot of complications, and I definitely recommend reading this book to learn all about it. Thanks for the question.